Okay, so let's get to the materials. So we can just select one noodle here and then add a new material. Let's go to shading, rendered shading, and let's go to materials here. Sorry to this, and turn on subsurface scattering, and give this a color around there. Let's go to this material here, to this material setup here, material option here, because I think it has better lighting than what I've set up currently. And then let's turn on subsurf and change the subsurf color. And let's see what else can we do here. Let's reduce the the roughness. Maybe put it around there and give it some clear coat. Let's try making this more yellow. Let's see. Turn on lights, scene lights. We can reduce the light here. Let's say 10, sorry, 30, and let's make this, let's say 2. Then we can select all the noodles and link their materials to this here. You can see the shortcuts I'm using there. For now, let me see. I'm thinking maybe I should turn this a bit down. So let's increase the roughness here. Let's first use a different color here for this. Let's go back to materials and see. Now let's first duplicate more noodles here. I think this is too long, so let's scale down these control points. Again, duplicate these. So I'm scaling their thickness a bit to see how they would look. Let me see how this would look in cycles. I'll give it a moment. I think cycles is giving us better results, obviously, but I don't want to sit around and wait for the render. So let's go back to Eevee and see how we can fix this. Let's see. What if we added a light probe, so a reflection probe, and then an irradiance map? I'm still trying to learn how these irradiance maps work, because sometimes they give different results for different scenes. Obviously they should, but I mean in how they work, they're not very consistent in my opinion. So let's bake the indirect lighting, indirect bake, if that will change anything. See, nothing. I think we have too much light here, so let's reduce that and see if we put this to point, let's say 0.5, 0.5. Maybe also added a custom distance of say 10. You can also reduce the light here. Let's say 1. And let's also try reducing increasing the gross reflections, and maybe reduce the subsurf. Let's first turn off the subsurf and see. So this is how it would look without the subsurf. 0.1, and you have that. Now these noodles also lack enough resolution, I think. So if we select everything, go to edit mode, we can subdivide and see to make them more rounded off. I think we also need to add more noodles in the to the inside. So let's select a few like that. Select the plate, Shift D. We have the radiance light turned on. So since it's not doing much, let's delete that for now. Let's first also hide the plate, then select this bunch here, Shift D, duplicate it, scale it down, and we can rotate it a bit, and also scale it maybe up a bit like that. We can also rotate it and duplicate it a few times and put it in a few different areas. Because we are using curves, we don't have to worry about the polygon count until you have to convert this into a mesh. That's when, if you're going to convert this into a mesh, that's when you have to worry about the polygon count. But if you're not going to convert that, I think these are starting to look good. And I think you can also select a few like this and then Ctrl J to join them into one bunch like this. You see, they're using the same now a curve data. And if we go to edit mode, we can turn on proportional editing, but because for some reason it wasn't working when I was editing all of the objects at once, and we can start making a few edits on these, just grabbing them and moving them around like that. And then we have our noodles. Maybe that's a big plate, and hide. We have our noodles. Our lighting is still bad. Let's unhide more things here. Unhide this plate. Go into the plate collection. I'm looking for the other objects that I had. They're supposed to be in a different collection, but for some reason they are not. So I'll just select then Control X to cut them out, and that doesn't work. Let me first expand this. Maybe I can just select these noodles and place them in their own. I don't know why I can't use Shift Select to select multiple objects here. These need to be in this group. Okay, I'm not sure why they're not going into that group. This is objects. Okay, I think we are not viewing the right hierarchy. So let me see. There must be a setting because I'm seeing all objects in one object group instead of their respective collections. So I'm still figuring out how this works, but yeah, let's bring back these other ones. Let me go back to layout because this had its own outliner that I think was more organized. You can see these are still grouped in their respective groups or collections. So let me bring back this and see how this would look. I think I still have a bad I need to change my lighting here. Change the image background, the lighting image. Let's try this and see. You know what, let's give cycles a try. And you can see it tremendously looks better because Cycles handles subsurface better and lighting better as well. But it takes a lot of time to render one scene. That is why I don't want to use it. And I will also need to increase the light here. So let's try use nodes emission. Let's try 1000 here. And let's also change the light here. Give it also maybe 2000. And I think we need to move this light back a bit. And I think I can add this here. And what you can do here to make this even more fancy, we can add another curve object. Where is that? Where is here? give it some depth. Again, turn on full and increase the resolution to about 2. So this is, let's say someone is trying to take a bite. So we can make some noodles rotate around this fork. So let's see how we're going to do that. We need to first scale this down a bit so that we can easily control these points. So I'll go to this, let's see which view is this. Let's first clear the rotation of this. Let me first isolate these two. And then maybe clear the rotation of this so that I can easily control the noodle around, the noodle's rotation around this. And I need to scale this down a bit as well. So you can also change the handle type to automatic so that they can easily be rotated around. Let me turn on proportional editing. So we have that. We need to bring this a bit closer. Something like that. We need also to duplicate this a few times. Shift D. Maybe mirror this in the Control A, mirror this in the Y axis, and then in the X. Where is this? And now we can also make another noodle that is not. Let's just duplicate one of these here and reduce some of these subdivisions, delete some of these subdivisions. So that we have a simple noodle like that we can repeat a few times. Let me subdivide this. So we can go to edit mode of this. Shift D, maybe scale it down. Shift D, mirror that in the Y, like that. Shift D, rotate that maybe like that. And this fork is usually not straight like that. It's about, should be at angled, something like that. And now let's bring this back and see how this looks. So let's see how this will look here in cycles. There are no materials. Let's go back. And let's just select everything and then deselect what we don't want. Just select one noodle, Shift G, and then select type, and we can Control L, link materials, and yeah. Now, Eevee also doesn't look that bad, but it's not. The lighting is not really working very well here. So in Eevee, But let's see if we turned on. Now let's just try cycles render and see again. And of course, if you want, you can add these as particle systems on these. You can convert this into a mesh, but it will be a really dense mesh since we used a lot of curves. So I would recommend maybe to add a mesh covering, like a blanket covering here, just following the flow of the noodles, like the topology of the noodles, and then adding a particle system on top of that. But when you render, you don't render the mesh, you just render the particle system. So it will look like that, like the leaves are sitting on top of the noodles, or you can hand place the noodles, those leaves, since they're not that many. I think we really still need to work on the lighting. So I'll give this I'll work on the lighting a bit, and then I'll share the rendered images on the community tab, or on my other platforms, social media platforms, like on Patreon or CG Trader. Yeah, thank you for watching.